Hey guys, so in this video we're going to create functionality for gathering basic resources like mining ore or chopping wood or gathering some plants. Before we jump into that, let's fix a couple of the issues we have from the previous videos. One of them is ladder. So I haven't actually checked, but when you rotate the ladder and then get on it, it will rotate your character the wrong way. And fix is actually quite simple. All we have to do is go to player event graph, find your climbing ladder, and here after we set this is on ladder true, we can get the character movement, and we'll do set orient rotation to movement and set it to opposite of this, so false here. Then we'll copy it. Here on exit ladder we have it on false, so we will set it to true. And here as well on let go of the ladder to true. And now, no matter which way you rotate it, it should still work the same way. Cool, so that's one issue fixed. Then second one is if I go back to game, pick up some items, and it has to do with setting quick slot. So if I set the quick slot to the same one, then it actually removes the item because we are searching for duplicate items, and once it finds it, it removes it, but it's after we actually set it. So to prevent that, let's go to player, search for remove duplicate quick slots, click on this input here and add new input. Be careful because sometimes it flicks to different function, so make sure in the correct one. And here I'm going to add slot index, which is integer again, so integer. And then from the slot index we're going to check if it's not equal this one that we're getting, which is the quick slot that we're trying to find, and then do from here end boolean, connect both of these and add it to branch. So this will prevent removing it from the same quick slot. And now in the quick slot itself we also need to set it, so go to quick slot widget, and here we'll connect the slot index to this function. And now if I were to do the same thing, so set quick slot to this one, set quick slot to same one, nothing happens, but the different ones get removed and also different items get placed. So that is working fine. Now let's go to resource gathering. So first we want to do is, I'm going to close this, and we want to create the item. So we do have this new base interactable actor. I'm going to right click, create child blueprint class, and this will be resource underscore BP. Or we can maybe call it base resource or whatever you like. Resource is fine. Let's open it. First, let's go to enumerators and right click, and we're going to create new one. This will be resource type. And that is so we don't have to actually create different blueprints for each resources. We're just going to switch. So here add 3 new ones, and first one will be mining, logging, like logging wood, and the third one will be gathering. Then in the resource we're going to create some variables. So first one will be resource type of resource type, make it instance editable. Second one, we can also set static mesh of the item, so we don't have to click through these components. So we'll do it on construct static mesh, and this will be resource static mesh, which will be static mesh type, object reference, make it instance editable. Third one will be data table row, which is resource just resource. So that will be the item that we want to loot, and that will be data table row, data table row handle. Make it instance editable, and here we can also compile and set this to items DT by default, so we don't have to switch it each time. And then we want to randomize the quantity, so this will be max random quantity. So maybe you want to have from like iron ore or something, you want to have 5 ores maximum randomized, but from something like plant you maybe want only 1, so we can set it to 1, and this will be integer. Also instance editable. Compile and save. And this is all. Let's go to construction script. On construction script we're going to set static mesh. And this will be resource static mesh. So we can change it at will on spawn. And then in event graph now we can also cast to interact prompt. Interact prompt, get widget, and promote this to variable because we'll need this, and that will be interact prompt reference. And here we will set interact type, the variable, and we can do select here, connect the resource type, and now based on the resource we can do different interact types, so mine or chop or something like that. I'm not going to create it just now. Let's just set it up so when we're mining we're going to have the same functionality as on the chest, so we will have that radial bar progress, and while it's playing, like while the percent is increasing, we're going to also play montage. And for that let's go to chest and copy the functionality. So good thing about having so many functions done already that we can actually reuse them. So opening chest, we can copy this, but first let's copy this set radial bar percent function back in resource, paste it here. And then for this one, right click, create variable, and interact prompt reference we have because we just created it. And then go back to chest and compile this just in case, chest, and then opening chest, this whole thing we can copy. Event graph and paste it down here. For open chest, do nothing, and then is holding button, right click, create variable, timer handle, create variable, percent, create variable, and here we don't need to do open chest, so we will delete it. For now we can just add print string to test out if it works. Instead of picking items, that is when the bar percent is full. So it's on 100%. And now when we release the button, where are interfaces, on release, and set is holding button to false. And also let's call this opening chest again because that will go to false and reset this timer. So it will stop the timer by function name or by event. And here open chest, opening chest, opening chest. And then on interact, let me just see how we're doing it in the chest. So here after branch is holding button and opening chest, I'll copy it. It's quite simple. So interact, move it up here. Going to do the same thing. So when we're interacting, we will start holding the button and opening chest. Now we can rename this to gathering resource or resources, So do gathering resources, compile and save. And now in the player, we will also need to set up event once we start doing this. So in the player, in the event graph, graphs, event graph, down here I'm going to add custom event, which will be gather resource. And here we'll need some inputs. So we'll need the resource BP reference, BP ref. This will be the resource BP object reference, because we want to also destroy it after, so we will need a reference to it. And then we will need what type of resource it is, so resource type, so we know what montage to play. Resource type, and I think that might be, and actually we will need a second custom event to turn it off all the montages once we stop interacting with the resource itself in this one. So instead of doing that, we can just set up the same one, and we'll do variable here, and this will be something like active boolean, and we'll do branch here. And when it's active, so when we start gathering the resources, we're going to get the character movement, and we're going to set movement mode to nothing, because we don't want to move while gathering. And we also want to rotate our player towards the node. So for that, we can get actor location, which will be self, then copy it, paste it again. We will drag it from the resource BP, and then we will get find look at rotation. So this will check where we're looking at from the player to this location, and it will give us the rotation, which we then can set actor rotation, which will be self. But we don't want to rotate the whole thing, because sometimes it will look down when the asset is actually like lower, like when the pivot point is quite down. So we only want to rotate on Z, which is yaw, and that is this one here is the Z. Okay, so only left to right. So after we rotate it and stop movement, we can play montage. To play montage, not play any montage, because we will need also these notifies. For montage, we'll do select, and it will be based on this resource type, and then we can set up different montage for each resource. And for skeletal mesh, we need to get our player mesh, and that is pretty much it for now. Then on false branch, so when we turn it off, we just want to set movement back to walking, and we want to also stop the montage because it will be looping. So we'll stop anim montage, and if you don't reference it in any way, it will just stop the currently playing montage, so we can leave it as it is. Right, now in the resource, when we interact, we're going to get the player reference, and we're going to call gather resource instead of gathering resources. Resource BP will be self, mining type will be this resource type, resource type will be resource type, and it will be active because we're turning it on. And then we can copy this these three, and here on release we want to stop it, so when the bar is full, and also event on released. Wait, hold on, now we got the event on release, so we don't need to do it second time here. Yeah, because this is calling this one here. And here we need to turn it off, and we don't need resource type because we're just going to false branch. So down here. Alright, that is gathering resource. Now just to see it, we need to have some static mesh. So let's create a asset, new asset that will be for some iron ore. I'm not going to do all of them, at least not in this video. I'm just going to do iron, and for that we can go to fab. So if you haven't actually got the fab as a plugin, you can just go to Epic Launcher, and then under plugins you can search for fab and install it. It's much better because you can use it as a Quixel bridge before you add it directly to your Unreal. So here then I will select fab, and I will search for, first thing I'll show you, if you were to search for iron ore, you wouldn't have any luck because there is nothing that looks like, just a piece of rock with iron in it. I have looked through this, but what you can do is search for rock. I'm going to find granite rock because they are quite, they do have a little bit of something that looks like iron. You can see this one here, for example, look quite nice, and then we can just change the color slightly. So this one is what I really like, but there are some other assets. You can get this one or whichever you prefer. I'm just going to get this first one here, and then we can just add it to project, and it's quite easy now. And then once it's added, we're going to rename this. Let me just have a look at it quickly. Okay, this is right. Alright, it's better if you find the asset that has a flat bottom, because this one is a bit wonky, so we will have to put it in the ground a little bit. But it's fine for now. I'm just going to rename this to iron ore underscore sm. I'm going to add collision, so auto convex collision, and apply and save. And then here in the material itself we can change the color. So if you open this material instance, I'm going to pop it here so you can see it. Usually you have these settings on the base color. You can check this one, and then for iron I'm going to do something like reddish, because usually iron is like oxidated or rusty. That's how most of the games have it, not an actual iron silver color. So just going to change it to red. Save it, and then this folder I will rename to iron ore and move it to my meshes. Now we can drag it out. Iron ore. Let's see, it's quite small as well, so I'm going to resize it by default in modeling and just scale it up. Maybe do it a little bit taller. It's not gonna look good. Something like that. I said this asset is probably not the best for it because it's a little bit sharp on one side. I'll just bake transform, accept, and now we have iron ore. So back in selection, we can remove this part. We can go to resource, drag one out, and then here in resource type will be mining, resource mesh will be iron ore, resource that we're getting. For now I'm going to do iron bar, but feel free to create your actual iron ore new asset, and then in the crafting also you can from iron ore make iron bars. I'm just not going to waste time on it with a video again, because you already know how to create your own items, at least you should. So I'll just do iron bars, and then max random quantity will be like 5. And then if we were to just play the game, let's see if that works. So I'll go to pickup, I'm holding it, my player rotated towards it, and then I can hold it, I can let go and I can move, but I can't move when I'm holding it. So it's standing on one spot, and then it says hello when it reaches the full. So now we need a couple things. We need animation that will play, which will be mining the ore, and also we need to set up functionality so we can pick up some items. So let's do pick up items first. In the resource, after set progress here, instead of this print string, we're going to get a player reference, and we need to pick up item. But first we need to do a couple things, because we need to get this resource from data table, break it open, and then get data table row. It will be the items DT, and then we need to do for loop, and we need to get the random value from this max random quantity. So random integer, so this will be from 0 to maximum +1, because we don't want to get 0 from here. We always want to get at least one item. And then we need to promote it to variable, so it doesn't randomize on each loop, which will be just random quantity instead of max. And we'll set it here, and then we'll do for loop from first index, which will be 1, to the last index, and then loop body, and we'll be picking item, which is this one here. So for each random index we will get one item, and then on completed we can do from player reference again, we will create notify, and this will be picked up item, and we need item name, so we can break this open, connect item name, and also we can do this as a quantity, but I don't think we have it set up in the notify. Let's have a look. So in the notify itself, widgets, because at the moment it was only for gold. So create notify, no, just notify widget. All right, so for gold here, I know we have it set up. So if it's gold, true, it's doing this looted, but on the items, it's doing only the item. So we can do select, because we don't want to display always looted 1 maybe, so it will be hidden when it's only 1. So here we'll do this item stack. Sorry if this will be a little bit messy. If item stack is greater than 1, then true option will be this one we have for gold. It is going to be messy. True. And this will be looted this much. We need, after the quantity, I'm going to put X, like times how many we looted, and then space, and other pin, and last one will be item name. So looted, I don't know how many item names. And on false, I removed what was there before. It was just this. I can just connect it directly. So on false it will be just looted an item. Alright, now it should be actually picking up items. Let's see. Pick up 3 iron bars. I open the inventory, I do have 3 iron bars. I can actually keep spamming it because we're not removing it. So 4 iron bars, I have 7. Iron bar. 4 iron bars. And one more thing actually in the notify, let's change this item stack to 1 minimum, because otherwise it will change everywhere else that we're picking up items. Which technically shouldn't matter because we do have this branch. Anyway, it's changed now. Now we can also, after we gather the resource, we can destroy it. So resource, pick up items, uncompleted. We'll destroy actor, which will be self. And that is pretty much it. And now, after, we need to create pickaxe first, so we can spawn it and give it to player hand, and then also create an animation. But I'm going to split it again in 2 videos, so this one is not like hour long or something. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye!